Hey guys, this is Ashley from the South Houston Library, and today I'm going to show you how to use Excel. We're going to focus today on the Home tab, and so we're going to look at this ribbon and the different groups on here so we can learn how to use Excel. So Excel is a spreadsheet, and it's made out of rows, which are numbers, as you can see here, and columns, which are letters. And the cool thing about Excel is that all these cells, each one has a cell address. So for example, this cell, its address is G2, and it's where the row and the column intersect. And if you don't know what the cell address is, you can always check over here. And this cell that I clicked on is my active cell. It has a green outline, and that's the one I am currently working in and can make changes to. And sometimes in Excel you will be working with a range of cells, so not just one. So for example, if you are working with this range of cells, you would call it H2 colon I9, and this is called the range of cells, and this is very useful in Excel because you can do calculations with many cells. And in Excel, whenever you would like to move down a row, you can click enter, and then whenever you would like to move to the right, you can click tab, and this makes things easier sometimes. And here you can see it says sheet 1, and so Excel has, you can have different sheets. You can just do this little plus sign to add more sheets, and these sheets make up a workbook, which is your entire Excel workbook that you save. If you'd like to change the name of the sheet, you can just double click and then rename it, and this helps keep track of all your different sheets. And then press enter. Over here on A1, I'm going to start writing the title. So cookies for a bake sale. And as you can see, when I'm typing, I typed the title on A1, but it kind of looks like it's going to B1, but in reality it's not. It's still only A1. So I'm going to click enter. And one cool thing in Excel is whenever you would like to put different cells together. So I would like to combine these cells so I can make my title in the middle. You can use this button here called merge and center. And now my title is in the middle, and A1 to E1 is merged and centered in the middle. And your text in Excel, you can format it using this font group just like you would in Microsoft Word or Microsoft PowerPoint. So I want it to stand out a little bit, so I'm going to make it bold and fill the color in yellow. And these rows and columns, you can make them larger. You can change their size. If you go in between the columns, you'll see this double arrow going from left to right, and you can click and drag that to move it. And you can do the same on the rows. Just look for that double arrow and you can change the size. One cool thing that you can do is one little trick is if you just want to make it as big as it needs to be. For example, if I just want to make sure I see everything in the A group, you can go in between column A and B and double click, and it'll just make it as large as what you need to see, which the purchase date was being blocked, so now I'm able to see everything on the A column. Okay, and so the cells in Microsoft Excel, you can also format them. This is called the number group. And for example, I sold some cookies, and the price per cookie is going to be money, of course. So I'm going to select these cells right here, D3 to D7, and I'm going to click this button called for money, and now my cells are formatted and Excel knows that I'm working with money. And I'm going to go ahead and make these. I guess I can make this one smaller. So I change the size of my column so I can see everything. And so let's say I have all this information, but then I realize, oops, I forgot to add a order of chocolate chip, and I would like to add it right here under row 3 and above row 4. And so you can select row 4 and you can go over here to the cells group and you can insert a sheet row, and whatever you selected, your sheet row will go above it. And so now I can add whatever I forgot. So let me okay. And so you can also delete rows and columns in the same way. Just select what you would like to delete first before you do it. And one of the most powerful things about Excel is the formulas, and so it can do calculations very quickly. And so your calculations, you have this formula bar, but you can also write your calculations here directly in the cell. And you'll notice that for example, if I click on here and I type in, it automatically delete. If I type in something, it automatically deletes what I had inside. And so there's a difference between being on the cell and in the cell. So I had 10 before. So if I click on it just once and I type something, it automatically deletes what I had. And so you're only on the cell. But if I were to double click it, then I'm inside the cell and it doesn't delete what I had, and I can just add on to it. Like, let's say I just wanted to get rid of the 0 and add a 2. Okay? And so let's do our first formula. And so your formula always starts with an equal sign, and you always want to click on the cell where you would like your answer to go. And so I want my answer to go in E3 because that's where I want my total price to be. And so I'm going to start with an equal sign, and then you're going to click on the cell that you would like to be part of your calculation. So in my case, I would like my quantity 12, and then you can use a multiply sign, and if you were adding, subtracting, dividing, you would do the same here. You would just change the whatever you were using. And then I'm going to click on D3 because I would like C3 and D3 to be multiplied, and then I can click enter, and ta-da, it gives you your answer. And you can always check here on the formula bar to make sure the correct things were multiplied or the formula was done correctly, because it is easy to make mistakes. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to write it on the formula bar just so you can see. So you always start with an equal sign when you're doing formulas, and I'm going to click on C4 times D4, and I'm going to click enter, and there you go. There's your answer. So one thing that a lot of people love about Excel is the autofill handle, and it's the little black like plus sign on the corner if you go in the corner of the cell. And it's very powerful because so we know that for the rest of this column we want to multiply the C column times the D column, right? And so we're doing the same thing over and over again. And so the cool thing about the fill handle is that you can click and drag when you have that black plus sign, and it'll know that it'll do exactly that. So whatever you did on row 4, it'll do that with row 5, row 6, row 7, and row 8. And there you go. You don't have to type in the formula 5 times. You can just use the autofill handle. And you can also do this with text. So let's say I have hello here and I want to use the autofill handle to copy all the way down. It'll also do that. it can even recognize patterns sometimes. So if you do 1, 2, 3, and then you select the pattern and you use the autofill handle, it'll know that the pattern you're adding by 1 each time. So the autofill handle is something very useful in Excel. And you can also use this button right here called the fill. If you don't like using clicking on the corner of it, you can use this button too. I usually don't use that one, but if you like it, you can try it out. Okay, and so there's other functions on Excel that we're going to use. So here, I would like to know the average of the amount of cookies I had sold for those 4 months. And so I'm going to click here, and in this group you have this Autosum button, which is really awesome. So first I'm going to click where I would like my average to go, and then I'm going to click the Autosum button, and I'm going to click on average. And it automatically tries to guess what I'm trying to find the average of. In this case, it's correct, right? I'm trying to find the average from C3 colon C8, so that range. So I can just click enter and go. But please be aware that sometimes it does not guess correctly. And then you can, let's say I only wanted the average of the first 4, you can just click and drag through those 4. Or you can also change it here. So you can change it to C6 or whatever. But in this case, it was correct. So, oops, let me go back. In this case, it was correct. So I can just click enter, and it found the average of my quantity of cookies sold for those 4 months. And then you can, since you're going to find the average of the price per cookie and the total price, you can actually just use the autofill handle. Since you're going to be doing the same thing, you don't have to go ahead and do the formula all over again. So I'm just going to do that, and it found the averages really quickly. And there's another cool thing in Excel under the numbers group. If you don't want to see all these decimal points, you can always decrease the decimal, or you can increase the decimal if you like. So I'm going to decrease some decimals. Okay, I only want to see 2 decimal points. And then we're going to find the total. So I'm going to go to the same Autosum button, but now I'm just going to click on sum, and it wants to find the sum from C3 to C9, but that's not really what I want. I just want from C3 to C8. So I'm going to click and drag through those because I don't want to include C9. And then I'm going to click enter. And now I've found my total. And then I'll do the same for the next one. So it tried to find the total all the way to D9, but I don't want that, so I'm going to click and drag through these. So this is when you're working, how I told you earlier, sometimes you'll be working with a range of cells. This is exactly it. So you're working from D3 colon D8. Okay, and then I'm going to press enter. That's the total price per cookie, and Autosum. And this time it'll be E3 to E8, E3 colon E8, it's correct. And I'm going to click enter. And so these functions are really useful in Excel because with a calculator, this might have taken a lot of time with all this information that I have. But using Excel, it can be done very quickly. Some other things I would like to show you on the Home tab is you can also sort your data, your information. So let's say I wanted to sort my bake sale by, let's say, by the date. So it's not really in order right now, and I think it will look better if I had it from oldest to newest. And so I'm gonna expand the selection and then click sort. And now, as you can see, it's in order from January all the way to April, and then my information looks a lot better. So make sure whenever you use the sort button that first you select what you would like to sort, and then you click on sort, and it'll ask you if you would like it from newest to oldest, oldest to newest, from largest to smallest, smallest to largest, and there you would choose what you would like. Another cool thing in the home tab is this conditional formatting. So let's say I wanted to have the total price of the cookies and I wanted to see which ones I made over $10. So I want to highlight those. So I can go here and highlight cell rules. So greater than, let me put $10. And then you can choose how you would like to highlight those. So you can do, I guess I'll do green. Okay. And then let's say you wanted the ones that you made less than $10, you wanted to highlight them red. You could do that. And then you can click OK. And so now you can look at your data a little bit easier because you have that formatting. There's also a different color scales that sometimes people find useful. So this one, it'll go from red to orange to green, and green being the highest number. So those are the color scales that sometimes people like. So kind of play with these and see if this conditional formatting works for you. Okay, so that's what I have to teach you from the home tab, and please let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you would like to learn on Excel. Thank you.